Hey, welcome back. I have next part of the Ogre Army Showcase ready for you. And what you can see here in front of you are the lead belchers from the special section. And I'll be looking at my two special choices that I have painted up. So to start with are, as I've said, the lead belchers. And this unit is definitely one of the more interesting ones because in 6th edition, I don't think I would consider this a must-have unit. It's nice, but the way it works in 6th edition, these guys shoot once and then need to spend a turn reloading. And that is really not... it's not an optimal way to run your army where you have a unit that costs, I want to say, around 50 points a model, somewhere in that range, give or take 5 points. That only gets to do something once every other turn, and while sure you could charge them in, and there's still ogres, it's not like these count as great weapons or something. Now, if they counted as great weapons, I think that would be different, but they don't. What they count as is simply just a few scatter dies worth of shots, I want to say. I never really looked at them in so long in 6th edition that suddenly their rules are just escaping me. I much prefer them as they were presented in 8th edition, where they are quick to fire, they have solid ogre movement of 6, and they each get an artillery die worth of shots every time they shoot, which is every turn. So this is a much more devastatingly powerful unit, and it's like 18-inch range, I want to say. Maybe it's 24 even. It's a decent range, and with their base range of 6, it's definitely a 24 to 30-inch threat every turn. And I've not had a game yet with these guys where they haven't wiped out something, whether it's just the enemy's skirmishing chaff type units or some light cav that are being annoying, or maybe something like a mangler squig. They're basically able to kind of run up and deal with a threat before it becomes a threat, and I really do appreciate them for that, because it's one thing ogres do lack in both editions, is the ability to shoot their targets off the board. They only have a couple of options. 8th edition, they're a little more spoiled. Not only is the shooting on these guys better, but there's another unit we'll look at in the next video that is also quite proficient at removing enemy targets. But back to these guys. They were fun to paint. By this point, I was still having fun painting the ogres. And while I do admit by the end, I was probably kind of getting drained on just painting ogres, because, there's not much to break up this army. Overall, just another fun unit that I got to paint, and looking at them right now, as always, I can see something I've done wrong, and it's that this guy here's flame. I've never painted it, so I'll take a few minutes after this and I'll get some orange and black on there. But otherwise, yeah, they were just fun. They were different in the sense that they had these big, massive pieces of metal in their arms, which isn't much different than most ogres, except for like the shape. I guess it's the silhouette. The silhouette these guys present is much different. So that was nice. Instead of just guys holding a big club or a couple of clubs, it was somebody holding a club that's also like kind of a cylinder, and you can jam these weapon bits into it. I'm a big fan of this little happy Noblar that's up there. I like Noblars as decorations. I've continued to not enjoy painting them, and I just don't think they're a very good unit choice, but in the sense of decoration, Noblars are super fun. So these guys here, pretty fun unit to paint. And I'm actually going to probably film 2 videos here tonight, but I'm going to ask this question before I forget. Does this feel darker? I've moved my filming location, and I don't think I get as good a lighting over here, so I'm going to have to figure something out for that. I might have to just go back to my other spot by my computer desk, which is a bit more cramped. Although I am thankfully able to move stuff very soon, which will let me make it less cramped, but it's not as good a spot as this, but I do have better lighting by it. Alright, so yeah, if you can just write an answer to that question, like, does this seem too dark? I kind of think it does, but maybe it's just my phone screen is dark right now. Alright, I'm going to pull these guys off. And I'm going to bring on my second unit, which are Yetis. Now, these guys here, unlike a lot of the, older special ogres I got a hold of, these guys are unfortunately fine cast. This means that the way they're standing and whatnot is probably not accurate to what it's supposed to look like. Just because no matter how much I tried to get, like, for example, this center guy to bend the right way, his ankles, it just could not keep it. Normally I don't have this much problem. I don't know if it's because it's like kind of like these big chunky ankles. I guess it's probably just I'm not used to trying to de-warp pieces that are this thick. Usually when I'm de-warping resin, it's fairly thin, spindly things, and you guys might just be a bit too thick. I'm trying to get a better view of these guys. It's not too bad. So I can start spinning them. These guys here, these guys actually were really fun to paint and quick. I very much enjoyed these guys. I did do some more shortcut painting on these. The bones and teeth and claws are not the best work I've ever done, and I will likely go back and touch all that up eventually, but I was definitely in a bit of a rush at the time when I was painting these, so probably not my best paint work, but at the same time, I did enjoy them. Variations of white, black, and gray. The really bright and glossy blue that I tried to create for the ice. And then the blood everywhere, just to, keep with the theme. But that really, stands out on these models. Yeah, these guys here were fun. I like these models. I don't know if I'd ever want to paint anymore, but definitely if I was going to repaint like something I've already done and feel that I have quite a bit of, it would likely be some Yetis, just because again they do look cool, and having a second unit or even just these guys as a larger unit, I just think they are very striking and they stand out from the rest of the army in a really positive way that it just brings something different. Bring a little bit closer. So with these guys, I had to get ice. It's not I'm not an heavy metal painter, but I think it turned out pretty good. So another view of his other weapon, of course slicked with blood. And I guess I just like everything about these models. They were really fun to paint, and on the battlefield they're quite cool with the ignoring terrain and the -1 to hit them, I believe, because of like this frost aura. They're always cold, and I'm pretty sure they're magic weapons, which is something that's handy. Ogres don't have ranks, to speak of in most cases, which are going to let you get that static combat resolution to beat um, the ethereals, like the spirit host and whatnot, that are essentially in most cases blockers, but you know in most cases, even you're looking at your ogre characters, you might not even take magical weapons just because they're so good at bashing, that you can't even rely on them to help you out if you're not playing like a good enough sized points match where you felt comfortable taking something of a magical variety. So these guys give you something that is definitely a little more um, you a little bit different use, I guess, because they're still just like they're just essentially ogres, but having that anti magic or anti ethereal use kind of makes them a bit of a back pocket unit that you never know if you're going to need it if you go to something like an event. But if you're there and you do come across that spirit house, it's nice to have an option that isn't just, oh well, I guess I'll send my ogres into that, and ho hum, I'm doing exactly what they want. I'm getting my ogres tied up until I bash down these few spirit hosts, which might take, depending if they take three spirit host models in a unit, it actually could take you a couple of turns. And with ogres, you're sitting there, you're not getting up into the main units that you need to smash, and you might be getting flank charged, and it's just not going to end well. So having something that you can toss into fighting an ethereal unit, it's definitely again, like a back pocket unit that it's nice to have. And I'm going to stop it there. I'm already at 12 minutes. I think that's more than enough for this. There's only 2 units. As always, thanks very much for your time, and if you have any thoughts or suggestions, just leave them here. I'll try my best to get back to everybody in a timely fashion. And I'll bring the next part out probably tomorrow, or later today. I'm going to try to film the last part here in just a few minutes once I get this cleaned up and put away. So thanks again. Have a great day.